Jodi. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Sprinkle Happiness. I have an amazing and a special guest with me today who actually wakes us up pretty good. She asks us a very powerful question. How many Mondays do you have left? So my guest, Jodi, is the founder of 4,000 Mondays, and her work has empowered and reminded so many people that thinking about our mortality is really what gives us more meaning and more juice in our life. Jodi, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, Nevria, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to talk with you about the fact that we're all, going to be totally temporary.
We are so temporary, and we don't account for that, right? We live as if you're going to live forever and ever and ever. Your big wake up call was, I've been reading your book and I really loving it. When your mom passed, I have lost my parents too, and it just hits home every time when you lose a loved one. That, you know what? It just reminds me of your own passing.
Yeah. It does definitely create a bit of a stir. And depending too on the nature of either the relationship or the life that you believe that person led. Like for my mom, it was sad that she died in her late 50s. That was too early. But I think it was my perception that she had all these regrets. Like she had all these dreams she didn't take action on. And I was the one cleaning up her place. And it was so evident. She was this creative soul with all these projects and dreams and business plans and manuscripts and drawings and all these things. And then she had this belief that I'll do it someday. And I know that she lacked confidence in money and some other things that do get in our way.
Yes.
And she also believed one day I'll do it. And then she died prematurely. And that, of course, was this startling wake up for me because I recognize my own inclination because of a lack of sometimes confidence, but also this false belief, like one day I'll do it. Oh, but you know what? Not only, and I just want to be clear because I realize it sounds super morbid to talk about how the message today is not you might die early. I mean, factually that could happen, but that's actually really statistically improbable. Thank God. Let's all just knock on wood. Right? It's not about live because you might die suddenly. It's about, well, what about the life you're living now? Doesn't that deserve to be lived to its fullest? Like, don't you deserve to send the manuscript out or give it a try or go do the travel, do the thing you want to do? Because why would we rip ourselves off just because we keep thinking we're going to live later? We're postponing our existence.
I love it. We're postponing our existence. You call it the someday trap. We just postpone our happiness. A lot of people postpone their happiness. Thinking that someday is a better day than today. What makes you think that someday is a better than today? Tomorrow is not going to be a better day than today. Is the only day.
Right. Well, as I threw it in the book, and then let me try not to botch my own freaking words here, which I probably will, but like the idea that tomorrow is a premise, not a promise. Like it's the idea of it. But I also know, let's just be real. I also know that it's so much safer to defer, especially if it's a dream that has teeth. It kind of feels like, ooh, there might be stakes associated with it. Even it doesn't have to be a big dream, like changing the world or starting a business or, I don't know, divorcing or moving across the world. Like those are all admittedly bigger things, but sometimes it's even just the smaller things that represent like a change in our routine, like, or a little bit of a risk, like, oh, I'd want to go and try ballet class, but I don't want to look like an idiot as an adult, or it would be cool to go and do that furniture making class, but I've never done it and I don't want to look like an idiot. Like the things that are small that hold us back. Well, there's life that gets buried alive if you don't do the ballet class or the furniture making or, whatever it is you've been thinking, because we are afraid. And I get it. Like I'm the number one scaredy cat and I need to be reminded to live for that reason.
Me. That's
you too?
Me. Oh,
High five me, babe.
Yes. All certainty driven. 10 steps ahead before I take the first one. But you know what? You just give us the permission to have lots of fuck ups too.
Well, the way to work it, and this is funny because I think the two of us, we've studied psychology for a long time. And I will always sort of shudder as I say this, that like, I wish it was enough that we were motivated to live this great life. Like we are, even us go-getters. But I will share that I've never seen anything more effective than unfortunately having the poke in the ribs to remind us, oh, right, we're going to die. Like the mortality, unfortunately, that like poker could be the poker up the butt or the poke in the ribs or the kick, whatever metaphor you want for just being woken up. That so far is the most visceral and effective way that I've found for us to actually take this life seriously. Or sometimes I guess we need to take it less serious depending on your particular brand of living right now.
But when you were at the World Happiness Summit, guys, that's how I met Jodi. It was at the World Happiness Summit, and she started with, "Well, you will die." See, that's how you started. Oh my gosh, like what a wake up call! Yes, you will die, but she is not telling us that you will die, and she does not make us to count our Mondays to depress us. She is telling us and sharing this with us, so we wake up to our truth. We wake up we say yes to our dreams, and we don't go into the trap of someday.
Yeah.
Because that someday is today.
Yeah. Thank you for framing it that way, because other than shock value of woohoo, yeah, great, we're going to die. Because right now, you'd have no listeners, but like, don't go anywhere. Wait, because the point of it is it's to flip the script and use it to our advantage, which is cool because research shows that it does. And so I think, the two of us and many others listening are interested in, okay, but is this more than just a gut instinct thing? Is it empirically based? And yes, it's called temporal scarcity. Whenever we see any kind of resource or situation as limited, we value it more. It's just that simple, right? So whether it's a certain kind of jewel or diamond or stock in the investment world or, life, as we are inclined to take it for granted, it's totally normal. And we slip into autopilot, which is the thing that I am most afraid of. Actually, I'm most afraid of, getting to the end and dying with regrets, but it's all part of the slippery slope, right? The wake up call of, wow, remembering that we have, like, I've got 1,737 Mondays left. That is the only clincher. That's the clincher to make me say, am I taking my time? Am I treating it as precious as it really is? Am I creating a sense of urgency? Not anxiety, but urgency to say, oh, honey, like, what are you waiting for? Every
Yes, what
time
are you waiting for?
right,
Yes, do
what
it.
are we waiting for?
Yes.
We all know the stories, but it bears repeating them about people who save their dreams and then they either get to the point where it's supposedly an okay time to press the go button on the dreams, like, okay, retirement. But we know that your health span isn't going to be super duper amazing necessarily. Like, why not
Yes.
go and enjoy life in a way when you're more able bodied than later, right? Why
Absolutely.
would we compromise on anything that might make us feel more alive now? Because again, it is all that we know that we have.
Absolutely. And you remind us in your book, and here it is, guys, you only die once, that you don't need money to be
Mm.
happy now, to live fully. You just don't. But we think because we are gatherers, right? We are gatherers of stuff and resources. It's in our genes, but you just need this constant reminder that joy and happiness is right here in this moment. It is created by us.
Your point about the no money thing, I think, is so important because I think there is a myth that the good life, living a life worth living, does require a lot of time and a lot of money. And those are resources that are for sure scarce. And like, let's be honest, of course it's fantastic to go on a jet setting situation or to experience the luxuries of life. I wrote an article this year I guess last year, that I love the concept of being a bon vivant, like someone who really just enjoys all of the pleasures of life. It doesn't have to be the finer pleasures, but if it's nice if they can be. Okay, but then for the rest of us, how do we live a life on a daily basis that isn't characterized by the lavish settings? Because again, that's not real. And I am so encouraged by the reality. And this happens every workshop I give. I make it interactive and I ask people about what's the stuff that makes you happy? What's the stuff that brings you joy? What's the stuff? Here's the best question. What makes you feel alive? And time again, it's the stuff that is so accessible and down to earth and something you could do today. And that's examples like sitting outside with my dog while having a cup of chamomile tea, or taking a little walk in the park right outside where I live and, stumbling and finding a neat piece of wood or rock. Or it's spending time with my my kid on the floor and having just quality time without my phone. Like, last I checked, those things are free. And
Yes.
they don't necessarily take a lot of time. I mean, depending how long your walk is, right? You could just be home and do it. And it's a choice that we make to stop and appreciate and savor the moment rather than just doing what I do, which is just answering another email instead of choosing to live.
I feel like when I keep myself well, all these projects and all these opportunities, and you wanna just be on top of everything. And if I feel like I don't take the time to just flow through my day, take frequent breaks. I don't go to bed happy. That's like what? That's my realization that I rush through life, that I don't like rushing through the day because today will never come back. This day will never come back. Its form or shape. I want to go through life with intention and not just rush through it. And I feel like I sit and I look at the time. Oh my gosh, where did the day go?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I love that you're saying this. I feel like I need to hear it again. Your listeners did too. And it's one of those things where it normalizes our inclination, fast-paced world. We want a lot of stuff, especially as ambitious people with lots on the go. We're kind of almost like the masters of our own demise because so much is on the go, but we forget that we are the ones that we could maybe turn the dial down for a second. We could alter it even slightly. And let's not underestimate the impact of the small things that make life feel a little more alive. So again, I think, I don't know about you, but I got all or nothing thinking, right? It's that do I have this amazing afternoon planned, which is going to be full of life, but I don't always have an afternoon to spare, right? What if it was in the 20-minute gap between these next things I'm going to do, right? Here's a way that I could actually feel alive. I could stop and I forgot that whenever I do that stretching routine, I always feel so good. And this is going to sound super corny, but work with me on this. I got an email this morning, like the Audubon Society, I like birds. And I usually just delete emails because I don't have time to, look at something I might like.
I do
Okay, well,
that.
anyways, I fell for it this morning, thank goodness, because it was 25 pictures of baby birds. I'm like, all right, I'm a sucker. Looked at that email and I was very clear that if I could have a measure of well-being of before and after, it would be astronomical. Looking at these little fuzzy baby birds. And that may not be your jam. Fine. Go look at baby puppies or I don't know, go look at fonts. Like I actually do like that too. I like
Watch the
graphic
funny
design.
cat videos. Everybody's making me feel guilty. I'm wasting my time on watching cat videos. I love cats.
It makes you happy. And so these are the things where it's number one is tuning in. And I think this is a concept also just in psychology is attunement and it's knowing what does make me happy. So there's this notion, I think, that we as busy professionals also, and sometimes it's a gendered thing as women as caregivers, maybe, I don't know, depending on what's going on in your life, we lose the plot. We lose track of the stuff that even makes us happy, what we really truly love. My recommendation is to take out a nice sheet of paper, however you want to record this, and write out things that make you feel happy that are generally obtainable in your day. And that way, when you have a quick minute between opportunities or meetings, or if there's a morning where you're kind of, I don't know about you, but weekends can sometimes seem stressful because there's this notion of should. Like I'm supposed to be living a life now, but now I got to throw the laundry in and now I'm supposed to go to the grocery store. What about having a little list so that it was about, hey, I've got this moment. I really would love to go. I'm going to browse through that bookstore in town and just leisurely browse. Or, maybe it is that it's a choice to say, I'm going to go and turn on that YouTube restorative yoga thing I keep hearing about. And next thing you know, that's 40 minutes of your life that you feel good about yourself and you've sent a message. I'm the kind of person who gives a crap about her or his or my life, right? Like I care enough to actually program it and I'm letting myself live, rather than getting swept up in the current or back to autopilot, the way that I think it's just the easiest way to squander our lives.
I love it. I love it. We feel like we need to accomplish more, do more, do more. And my professor, Dr. Tull, oh my gosh, he added so much value into my life. He kept reminding us happiness is not doing more, it's actually doing less. It's actually slowing down a bit. Even when life goes really, really fast, it's intentionally just slowing down and turning down the volume of things, turning down the noise of outside. People texting you and email you on their own terms. They want a quick reply, but it's up to me. I decide when I message back. I decide if I respond because every time I say yes to something, I say no to something else that I may be desiring more. I'm still practicing this. Like I have this routine now, Jodi, where I just don't read anything past no emails, no messages past a certain time, more like around 7, 8-ish, because I don't want to go to sleep with that message. It may be good or bad. In the back of my mind, that is now I have to process it all night. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you're onto it. I do the same, but here's where I fall apart. So yes, I agree. Like that new information is not going to be helpful to know past. For me, it's usually like 7 at night. Okay. My risk is that I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is check any kind of text or the inbox. And because I'm on a certain time zone, I've got a lot of stuff already waiting from the Eastern time. And that I recognize is my big opportunity, is like, again, back to if we're the ones programming a really alive life, and I call it astonishingly alive, that actually is not part of the program. So now that I'm saying this out loud, I now kind of feel accountable to you to be like, I'm going to change my way. I'm going to wake up and replace that with anything other than just reading all the stuff that I'm going to have to deal with. Because then you're basically just bracing for, you're fending off an avalanche, and that, like, good
Yep.
luck with that.
Yep. All the people that have passed before us, they all had big to-do lists. They all may have dreams that they never had the courage to pursue. And I don't want to be one of them.
No.
Maybe that's why I failed so much, because I don't want to do everything.
Yeah.
And my problem is, Jodi, I want to do everything at once.
Okay, so here's a question for you, because I recognize it. Hello, fellow producer. What would be the things, and this is like, it's the age-old test, but it kind of works. It's like imagining that you're on your deathbed and you're looking at the things that you did in your life, woohoo, and then you're looking at the things you didn't. And these are the regrets of omission. Like, I wish I had done this. I always wanted to do XYZ. I'm going to lead the witness for a minute, but then I'm actually going to ask you the real question. The presumption when you're doing this assessment on your deathbed of, oh man, the things that you wished you hadn't done, the presumption is that we will let the menial things filter out, right? Like, we probably won't on our deathbeds with its newly heightened prioritization be like, oh, I wished I'd answer my emails faster. Okay, well, if anybody ever says that, I mean, may you, I don't know, not rest in peace. That's just strange. I'm kidding. Rest in peace, everybody. But we usually regret things that we didn't do that have been dreams, or these just even silly desires, or just these notions that we want for ourselves of small, medium, and large size. And that exercise is about realizing, what would there be that would make me feel like, oh man, I always wanted to do that. And here I am at the end and I never did it. Darn it all. Not to shame ourselves, but more just for information. And so, can I be nosy and ask you, is there anything that you would feel a little bit like kind of kicking yourself?
Yes, yes. If today was my last day and I would look back into my life, I think first off, I wasted a lot of years. I wasted so many years not doing the things. That's why I'm so hungry now. Now I give myself permission. So I was raised very strict in a Turkish culture. I was in a very male dominated culture where I felt like, and I was controlled. So I was raised not feeling good enough. And, I was born and raised in Germany and Turkish culture. So I was like, I didn't belong anywhere. So I drifted through life and wasted so many years. And my biggest mistake, and I am the only one responsible for this, is that I listened to other people's opinion. I made their perception of me, their opinion of me, make it my own. I then felt I wasn't deserving and I wasn't good enough. I didn't have the courage. Now that I have kind of like breaking through it, kind of getting better at it, now I want to do all at once. Oh my gosh, I am free. I am free to do everything, and I don't want to die without experimenting with all the things I'm desiring. So I'm not a born entrepreneur. But I'm a 99%, 99.999 infinity artist. Now I'm like all my amazing friends who are very successful business owners amongst them, and just giving me tips. Nev, you gotta do this. Nev, you gotta do it this way. So I'm like needing a bit more support here, getting more into putting my entrepreneur hat on sometimes and not getting out of the artist. Nev.
Yeah, I love that. But your story is very inspiring, I think, to so many of us, because we do have these limiting beliefs that can be based on culture. It could be based on just what some stupid kid said to us in grade school that made us feel dumb, or whatever it is, right? What I'm hearing is, I guess, you look back and you feel like there was time you didn't act, and now you're fully plugged in, it sounds, and you are fully moving forward. I don't hear necessarily that you would have a regret then, and maybe there's something
Yes,
specific.
I don't.
For
Everything that happened prior was a learning experience. It prepared me for today.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, because I would like to discern, like, there is 0 point in rehashing regrets of commission. So I just want to be clear, there are regrets of omission, which are interesting, which is things we wished we had done, but we didn't. And then regrets of commission or regrets of things we did that we wished we didn't. So research is clear that wishing that we didn't marry someone or move somewhere or buy that house or take that career, we usually just rationalize that and that goes away. And that doesn't do us any good on a deathbed anyways, to wish we hadn't made a mistake. The opportunity is with the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. The opportunity is with, wow, I always wanted to learn that language and I didn't. Or I always wanted to do that online course and I never had the nerve and I didn't do it. Or I always wanted to plan that big family reunion in Ireland and I never did it. Or I always wanted to go and dye my hair bright red and I never did. So it's the ideas that we have for ourselves that we just don't take action on, usually rooted in fear, but often excused as I'll do it someday. Those are the examples that I'd love for everybody to list out. And that's where you have an opportunity to look at that list and say, do I actually want to do something about this? That's why I call them pregrets, because they're not regrets yet. You're not dead yet. And you have a chance and a choice to say, okay, do I really want to dye my hair red? Okay, if you do, make the appointment. Just do it.
And don't worry about judgment. People sometimes fear other people's judgment, and it is just way too much. It's so not necessary.
Right. And I think that's why we need this consistent reminder, is because our default in living in a world with other people is we are going to continue to be thoughtful, for example, of others' opinions or of maybe fear of rejection or failure, or all the things. But then it all comes back to, wait a minute, my time is limited. It's technically dwindling. We are technically very slowly rotting corpses in the making.
Yes, we are.
And what am I waiting? Like, why would I not go and plan that trip? Why would I not go and learn that language? Why would I not go and try to make that really difficult dish that I have a recipe for? Like, what am I waiting? Like, back to what am I waiting for? I'm going to die soon.
Yes.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
We don't know how many days we have. It's just, isn't that so comical? And we postpone as if we have another 100, 200 years ahead of us.
Right.
It's really not that serious.
It's not. And there's a line by Nietzsche, which is, man is the only animal that needs to be reminded to live. And, here we are. We're so complicated, right? Because we want these things. We may have a bucket list. We have these dreams, but then what it is, we let our mundane lives take over because they end up getting busy and they end up feeling safe. And then what happens is we just need these consistent reminders like this conversation to say, life is too short to not go and book that family reunion. Life is too short. Back to what I'm waiting for. So I think these are the reminders I need to be reminded to live. This is the business. I talk to people about this for my living, and I need this reminder personally. So not one of us will escape the sense of adaptation that occurs from, we don't want to think about death. It's a downer. And we don't. No wonder this is why I doodle the Grim Reaper. I try and make him a little more, a little bit cuter, a little more attainable. We don't want to talk about it. And we don't want to face the reality, like you said when we first started talking today. But the cost of that is hidden but real, is that we aren't tuned into the scarcity. And it's just with just enough of a dose of it, you're talking about sprinkling happiness. I'm going to talk about sprinkling a little bit of mortality on us. That is the thing that helps to offset this and makes us go, right. I'm going to do that thing because why not?
Yes, absolutely. Why wait? Why wait when you don't know how much time you have left? But things happen in life, challenges. There's going to be drama this year for all of us. We just don't know in what form or shape. And I love the metaphors in your book, and it really, really, I resonate with your style so much. You said there'll be ants at your picnic table. The ants will come to your picnic. That means you will have uninvited guests knocking in your door. You will have people lie to you. You will be disappointed. So how do we handle these? When sometimes you feel like everything is coming at you at once.
Yes. Yeah. It's a good question for today's day of age. But I think it's always, has there been any generation or any period of time where it doesn't feel like the world's on fire in some way? I think in the midst of life doing what it's going to do, which is provide so many beautiful ups and so many unfathomable downs, our responsibility is to be aware again of our aliveness and to recognize again, what's the stuff that does make me feel grateful to be here and to be alive? And what would make me feel proud about steps I'm taking towards feeling absolutely decidedly alive? And I think that in the midst of that, so some periods of life, there might be seasons, right, where you're just inundated. And it could be through like whole swaths of child rearing years. or it could be through really tough times where your country's falling apart, or it could be through just personal health chaos, or, the examples, unfortunately, are limitless. What would be the things that you could eke out in the midst of it? That might be even the tiny things, like the very seemingly insignificant, mundane things. And I talk about the magic of the mundane. It is just something where it's just the sweet, simple savoring of, wow, let's plan for Thursday night's dinner. This is crazy, but let's do dessert for dinner and make a little tiny treat of it. Or having there be, let's take on Saturday, even for 40 minutes, let's just go take a walk in a new neighborhood that just feels interesting and go and savor that and then come back to the rest of the drama. But what it is it's making a choice to at least
I love it.
eke
Just
out.
schedule it.
Yeah.
Schedule the drama time. Kind of like from 6 to 7, I'm gonna have my pity party, but then I'll be done with it. Let's
Well,
schedule it.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I like that too. I
I
think
like that.
it's about being responsible. And I think that having something to look forward to, especially in times of despair, is important. So I recommend even a little thing within a week, within a month, and then within a year of life, that there's something on the calendar. And again, it doesn't have to be a ginormous, dazzly sounding thing that costs a ton of money. It could be something like, I'm really looking forward to when my friend comes to town after our long loss. We haven't seen each other for years, and she's coming in the fall. Like, wow, and savoring that you're going to have this great time, and what you're going to have for breakfast when you go out, like all those great things. But having even the tiny, tiny little thing, right? I'm off this week with the husband. We're taking a little staycation vacation week. And in order to make the most of it, because here's the risk, and this is like a metaphor for life. In unplanned reality, time will do its thing and it will just absorb you. And next thing you know, it will be Thursday and then Friday and then Sunday, and we'll be back to work on Monday. So the goal is we come up with we call these like a bite-sized bucket list, like things of all things, vacation for this week, where it's a little bit of a laundry list of cool things that would be fun to do. And they can be as simple as there's one neighborhood where we want to go up a bit of a hill and look at these fabulous houses. And it's going to be like taking a little hike up there. Again, it's not going to take a ton of time, but we'll have the time this week. It's not going to cost anything. We might get charged with trespassing. I hope
love
not.
it.
Yeah, but
Love it.
it's a little thing, and it's noticing. And so that by the end of this week, it will feel like life got lived, like almost like you have something to show for it. And I don't mean a new fancy item to hold. I just mean some like memories that will be thoughtful. Same thing about knowing we want to go and try that cute little cafe and go and sit, back to your thing about slowing down. Go and sit and linger and loiter after breakfast
I
and
love it.
have another coffee or tea and just sit and look out the window and people watch. I mean, these are the little simple joys of life, right? But are we being thoughtful that they actually add up? Because they do.
What I was reminded during my studies of happiness was the importance of giving yourself really the space to not just do, but be.
Mm,
It just became human doings. We had to be just be
mm,
without your electronics. Just rest.
mhm.
Like you don't have to go anywhere to get rest, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to go on the other side of the globe to have the vacation. You can just have
right.
a great time in your own city and just really giving yourself sometimes time to also be bored. That's kind of like what I
Mm,
appreciate even more now
mm,
because you don't do that anymore. Oh my gosh, the second we get bored, we have our phone, we have all these things that's going on that can take our boredom away. While actually boredom creates the space for creativity. That's research is showing that
mhm.
it creates the space so your brain cells actually can relax and
Yeah.
breathe and give you even more cooler ideas.
Y- it's interesting because for what you've described you're like, and I am very similar, our lives are structured so that boredom is not a naturally occurring event, right?
Mhm.
Our lives are designed so that we are kind of go, go, go. And I think back to your idea about like scheduling time for drama and then let it go, there's probably merit in scheduling time for boredom if that helps us feel better, right? So it could be this Thursday afternoon, I'm blocked off and I'm not allowed to be on my phone and I have to just sit with this notepad and start to go crazy and then see what happens. Or even this idea, this I find it's tantalizing, but it's also horrifying. The idea of spontaneity. for a lot of people, right? It's like, well, you said you want to know the plan 10 steps ahead. And I also have this like secret desire for more spontaneity. And I think that ironically, scheduling time in your calendar for like spontaneous time
Yes.
is important because it's like, how do you carve out enough time for like leaving room for a bit of an adventure? And what that means might be driving your car, getting off an exit. I mean, let's ensure that it is safe and generally, but like going, for example, to a new neighborhood and wandering around and wandering in some stores and sitting at a new coffee shop. I think that planning for it, again, lives worth living don't just happen to us. And I hate this because this goes back to your point, and I might be trampling on it about being versus doing, but I actually think we're in sync here because in order to live and be, I think there does have to be a bit of thought and planning and like the doing in order to make that happen. Or else, again, the days pass us by. And next thing we know, it's the end of the year and we're like, wait, what happened? Because that's how autopilot does. It's very glazing our eyes over thing. And so planning is the unglamorous thing that does have to happen in order to actually put a little bit of thought into, wait a minute, I feel like I want a little more adventure in my life or spontaneity. What would that look like? I don't know. It scares me. But all I do know is that I'm blocking off next Sunday for that. And then when you block it, chances are it going to happen. Versus if you don't block it, you're just going to end up doing laundry.
Yes, schedule it. So, Jodi, what does your morning and night routine look like? You invented this word, didn't you? A life delicious is her word in her book. And I love it. How do you sprinkle more alive delicious into your morning and night?
Thank you for asking. Well, as discussed, my morning routine is going to change because right now we wake up very early and I check my phone, but no longer. Okay.
Yeah.
The first thing I love, I make the husband a coffee and I bring it to him in bed and it feels like already just like a loving gesture. And then I get to spend time with our 2 new kittens and they are absolute mayhem. But in the morning, sometimes they are peaceful enough to let me spend a little bit of time with them and I clean their bowls and I get their whole thing going. And I feel like a caring mother because I've
Yes.
nourished our cats. I have a ritual where I will have my breakfast and I sit and I read, I skim through the paper. So I'm not going deep on news that causes me stress. So I will not watch any news media on television or on my phone or on anything because I do not want to, it doesn't help me. It only hurts me, but I will skim. So then I will look at the local news to stay on top of events because that makes me feel plugged into the community. And then my husband and I go for a walk every single morning before our day starts. And we go for a walk every single night before dinner. So we have a bookend where we start the day and it's bright and it's lovely and it's time together and we kind of map out what we're going to do today and maybe some goals or even just what's for lunch. And then the end is like how did that thing go? Hey, how'd that call go? Or, oh my gosh, did you see Monty? He jumped from the chair to the couch to the.
Oh my gosh. We have so much in common. We are both crazy cat lovers.
They're so entertaining. And then, so that would be a key, crucial ritual that I just want to be clear. I have a whole chapter in the book about how habits are the end of us and how they will dull our existence and basically murder our minds. And I'm a bit harsh on it, but I do think that there's a risk that when we fall into routines, that can mummify us. And I don't want that. They can be very soothing, but the difference though between a ritual and a routine is big. So a ritual, for example, that the husband and I walk in the morning and at night, that feels like, okay, you could call it a routine too, but it is so alivenating and it delivers on well-being that it is worth it. And so that's not a routine like I mindfully go through the motions and next thing you know, I don't even know what happened. It just discern. Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. Some things needs to be scheduled, even though, sometimes we don't feel like doing the things that we should be doing, like exercise. But we know when we do it, that the rest of the day you're so proud of yourself.
Right.
And
It
you're
sets the
happier.
tone, right? These are the things where like, do I want to do this thing now? And the answer could be no. But it's like, will the me later today want this? And you have to be equally invested in the life that you're going to live today. And again, this isn't postponing existence. This is just saying today, like, will I feel better that I did do the walk? Or will I feel better that I did get the stupid vacuuming out of the way? If the answer is yes, then like invest in it and feel like $1 billion later in the day rather than dragging you down,
Absolutely. Isn't it so comical that sometimes we think about the things that we should be doing that we know we got to do, that we think about it way more than if we had just actually would do it. It would be like 10 minutes. 30 minutes.
Right, right. I'll think about a response to a sticky email, and if I had just sent the response, it'd be out of my life.
Yes, you wouldn't be think about it all day long. Like
Yeah.
first thing, if I work out first thing in the morning, oh my gosh, my day goes by so much more with more vibrancy, with more energy, and the cold days kind of got in the way, and then it just I really look forward to warm weathers again. But hey, just do it. Just do it.
Mhm,
I never feel like doing it, I
mhm.
never feel, but every time I do it,
Yeah.
my day goes amazing.
Well, that's a good point. I think we all have to identify those things in our own lives to say it's almost like taking a vitamin, or
Mhm.
like eating the veggies that you don't want to eat. It's like, it's worth it. Trust me. And I'll share with you, this is one that I think is horrifying for someone in the positive psychology world, you might find, but as a big introvert, and I love to be home,
Oh,
social
that's
outings
me.
for me can be difficult. And so
Oh, that's
I
me.
will never regret going to the thing. Okay. But I will always have this feeling of, oh, why did I say yes? And then I don't want to go. But then I go and it's always better. And here's what we know to be true because we've studied this at length. Social connections is like the number one driver of well-being into our later lives.
In
And so part of it is
longevity.
almost like I'm taking my social pill. I'm going to go for this lunch. And of course I always have a good time, but it's one of the, to me is an example of eating my veggies in a way. And does that make sense? Yes, saw you nodding.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm a big, huge homebody. I don't have to go anywhere. I have a fantastic time with my cats. Actually, I feel quite guilty. If I have to go somewhere, it can be the loveliest destination. And I leave my babies behind.
No.
I keep thinking about them. It's like torture for me.
I know. We did a thing yesterday, which again is a very, for homebodies, it's like some participating in life is an important thing. And so we went to this local tennis tournament, which is amazing. And while we were there, here we were looking at each other, the husband and I, like, what do you think the boys are doing right now? And then we decided to come home to them because we missed them. And that was joy all around. We did a thing. Woohoo. We went out and then we came
Yes.
home to our cats. That's life.
Oh
Life
my
is good.
gosh. I love that you love cats, Jody. They are they are a huge gift from God to me. And I feel like I have given birth to them. I love them so much. Honey, I love you more. I'm just putting
Are you
it up.
petting one right now?
Yes, my
You're
Oreo.
actually petting a cat. You had to have you had to have touch. I love that.
Okay, let's turn it to our viewers. Right here, my Oreo. Hi, honey.
Oh my goodness. Do you think your cat knows that there's a spot on its nose? Do you think it knows that
I
cute
don't
little
think
spot?
it knows. I don't think it knows.
You know about its nose.
Jody, give us a quick tip before I let you go. How do we
Okay.
people calculate how many Mondays they have left? And
Yeah.
before freaking out how many Mondays they have left, what can they do right now to make this Monday, this today is Monday, the most extravagant, amazing Monday?
If you don't like mortality math, like if you don't like doing math, on my website, there's a free little calculator on the resources page, and you just plug in the information, and it'll tell you your Mondays left. Okay, so that's that. It's just done. It's easy.
You have a calculator on your website?
Yeah, it's an actual calculator, and
I
it's
did not
very
see that.
easy.
I did
There's
the math
no
on your book.
yeah, but I mean, you could do math if that might make you feel proud. And, I would say usually the number one way to feel amazing and alive counterintuitively is to do that math, but it's to say, what is an example of something that if by putting my head on my pillow today, I made a choice to do something that makes me feel undeniably alive, what would that be? And I think we get caught up in it has to be something grand or special, but it could be something as thoughtful as like, I'm going to go find that 25 baby birds thing online, or I am going to text and reach out to my long lost friend. Or, I always feel really good when I sit and read a fiction book. I'm going to read a chapter of fiction rather than a business book, or you pick. But it's just making one small decision as a vote and as a push towards your aliveness. I like to normalize that and say that is evidence that you're making a new choice to be alive. Try something new. And now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm going to change my answer slightly to try something new today. Because
Try something new today.
novelty is a really important component of well-being, the experience of newness and interest and curiosity. And it is part of a concept called psychological richness. And it is such a big component of having a life worth living. And
I
so,
love it.
yeah, do the math, do something that brings you joy and shake it up.
Shake it up. And if people want to get a hold of you, Jody, how do they find you?
I am at 4000mondays.com and on Instagram at 4000mondays. So thank you for asking about that.
Oh my gosh, guys. get your copy of You Only Die Once. I'm absolutely loving it. It's such an eye opener, Jodi. You're not inviting us to live a more joyful and meaningful life. I'm a huge proponent of, live a happier life, design and create your own life, however that looks like for you, that is full of joy and meaning and on your terms and the most authentic life that you can ever live. And I really, really want to thank you for putting this out there, for sharing your wisdom with us and our listeners.
Thank you for this chance to be with you, in a world where we count down every minute. And is it worth it? This is a great time getting to spend chatting with you.
Yes, you gave me a huge gift. You gave it to me and our
Mm.
listeners. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Jodi.
Thank you. Let's get out there and live.
All right, let's go live, guys. And I see you guys next week on another episode of Sprinkle Happiness. Until then, go have fun.